To set out with enthusiasm on any journey is a promising beginning, and the Irish proverb puts it well, Tus ma la nehibra. A good beginning is half the work. But at a certain point, it's no longer the beginning, but the continuing that really counts. We've reached such a point in our efforts to combat COVID-19. We can be grateful for the major efforts made by the overwhelming majority of people to stay at home and abide by social distancing, hand hygiene, cocooning and self-isolation. But now we know we have to keep at it. I'm sure you've smiled at the experience of children on a long journey who are beginning to feel restless, ask with exasperated frequency, are we there yet? In the hope of somehow making the destination arrive. But perhaps all of us now have traces of this experience ourselves. The COVID-19 virus won't disappear by magic. It really requires our sustained effort. But I think of a line in the Gospel that might help us. By your patient endurance, you will gain your lives. Endurance is not giving in to the temptations to relax things a little or make small compromises or take little risks. Let patient endurance be a motto for us anytime we feel our resolve flagging. But we are on a collective journey with daily news updates and much media coverage, for which we can be very grateful. But might it also be a moment when we can engage, just like you do on a long journey, in a chat about what it is we are noticing on this journey? It could be an expression of another Irish proverb, Gureen Bert Boher, two people shorten a journey. The day will come when we'll be getting near the destination and our mind will be moving on to that and the considerable challenges facing us. This week we've already seen a little of what that will be like with the disappointing setback faced by those laid off in Debenhams and by the many young students preparing for the Leaving Cert. But for now, it would be a good idea to drill down into the experience we're living through and ask, what are the insights and the discoveries we are making that we would want to hold on to? It would be a pity if we had the experience and missed the meaning, as T.S. Eliot put it so well in the Four Quartets. What is this experience we're going through saying to us about the scale of values we normally operate out of? From the perspective of today's crisis, what have we realized about the hectic pace of normal times and what we might consider doing differently for the future? The place of older generations in our society, the need to cultivate intergenerational bond, the way we value services, including the most everyday services, the focus on relationships to be treasured more deeply, especially in the family, life and work balance, rethinking political and economic, education and social systems, our leisure time. I think also of the wonderful statements of community we've had through volunteer movements. Love your neighbour as yourself, the golden rule that I mentioned many, many weeks ago. We are doing that now, certainly. A flame has been reignited here over the recent weeks. Let's not forget this. Let's not leave it behind. Let's see if the structures are working so brilliantly here, not least here in Limerick, with the Limerick COVID-19 response, can be retained. Yes, it is a difficult and unprecedented time for all of us. For the bereaved, it may be the worst of times. But for all that, there are elements and learnings we cannot leave behind. This conversation might be an exercise in naming the signs of resurrection. The coronavirus should not be allowed to strike us in vain. Our combat shouldn't be just about getting through all of this alive, important as that is. Hidden in this storm of threatening darkness are signs of resurrection, because out of this virus, if we name and own what's going on deep within us at this time, a new world might be emerging. But we will need to take the time and effort and national conversation to talk about this. It would be a pity to have been heroic at this time in adhering to restrictive measures, but remained unreflectively on the sidelines of a significant moment in the march of history. Yes, Tusma Lana Hibra, but it's only half. Let's make sure that having endured and reached our destination, we will have noticed, named and noted what we've learned along the way.